What is going on, everybody? Welcome to our Monday night show of Staggered Stance. We are missing one host tonight. Matt is off doing his own thing, traveling, work. I don't even know. Is he even in town right now? I'm not sure.
It's a mixture of work, travel, and then he also has Junior Worlds coming, and I forget the order of all that, even though he probably told us in the chat. But
he's probably told us, and we sometimes get on a roll in our chat where all of a sudden I have to reread 50 text messages, and a lot of information just goes right over my head. But anyways, welcome everybody to episode 196. This episode is presented by Disc Golf 978. Go check out their website over at discgolf978.com. They have tons of apparel. They've got bags. They've got discs. They have free shipping over $25. You can even do custom apparel through them. If you're a tournament director and want to use them as your pro shop, your funny money for the amateur side, they help you out every single step of the way. They are incredible. Don't forget to use our code WeLove978 over at checkout. Once again, discgolf978.com. Thank you for sponsoring this episode of Staggered Stance. So, we had an Elite Series event. We had other events throughout the country. Evan is going to hit us up with some Statmando stats on all of that. And I guess, Evan, we can jump right into it. Take it away.
Yeah. Can I take a quick break? I want to talk about the 4th of July. I mean, we're going to get into the event recap. I know that's what people want to listen to because we're a disc golf show. But I want to give it like 60 seconds. Just how was your 4th of July? Ben, what did you do for the 4th?
For the 4th of July, I hung out with a bunch of family and friends, and then I went to the lake house and just watched fireworks on a paddle boat with Nick Carl's cousin and my girlfriend.
Oh, so romantic.
It was,
Nick,
dude. And here's the thing.
Sorry.
Nick Carl's cousin was to my right, and, I might have put my hand on his kneecap at one point, thinking it was my girlfriend, but it's okay.
Nice.
And he didn't stop you?
No, that didn't happen.
Nice.
Nick, what about you down in Florida?
I actually flew to Nashville and helped my girlfriend move her stuff out of her apartment back to her parents' house in Virginia while she's finishing up rotations. So spent the day traveling and then got to enjoy some fireworks as we were driving on the highway, which was cool because originally we thought it was a car blowing up. With how far away it was, it fit perfectly. We freaked out for a second. It was kind of wild. And then we just found out it was just regular fireworks. So saw that a couple times throughout the drive. And that was that. That was my beautiful 4th of July. I spent the morning of it at Olympus mowing. So it was a good day.
Nice.
Responsibilities. All right, you ready? I had a family 5K in the morning, and then a town parade at noon, and then a cookout all afternoon. Had some of Matt's smoked pulled pork, town fireworks at night, and then on Friday did over 20 miles in the White Mountains, and then I was tired on Saturday. And backyard fireworks. So we live in New Hampshire, so we did some of that.
There you go. Live free or die.
It was good. It was a good weekend.
Yeah. Making me tired too.
How about
all
you,
that
Evan?
running and hiking. I played a disc golf event on Thursday.
What's that?
First ever.
Disc golf?
Yeah, right. The Birdie Bash. It was the first ever tournament held at the new 9-hole course in Keene where I live. Fun little kind of family friendly, working on your skills approach game course, and racing for birdies and getting points for like hitting metal and whatnot. Apparently like an old Vibram event. And
Matt and I played that one time long time ago.
Nice.
I remember that.
Yeah, the original Keene course, when it was only 9 holes, they ran that as the first tournament. So when this second course in Keene got put in, they were like, hey, let's throw some homage to the original event at Otterbrook, the other course. So lots of fun. It was so hot. So it's too hot up here in New England. I don't like it.
So hot.
But
It's funny though, like, right. It is actually hot. It is hot, but I know every time we mention it to any of our like deep South listeners, they laugh and they scoff. Hey, but for us, it's hot. I actually think it's hot for anybody. Anytime you're in the mid 90s and you have humidity,
oof.
It's hot. And I know Florida's hotter, Nick, but like you start to lose track when you get in the mid 90s and humid, right? It's just all hot.
Usually by the time I leave my apartment, it's already like 80 to 85 degrees.
Yeah, brutal.
And I get out to the course, and usually after breakfast, it ends up being 85 plus degrees. It gets up to 95 about right now. There's been a couple days over 100. I'm sure there's been a lot of them, but you kind of start working in it, and then it's like, well, within 10 minutes, you're drenched in sweat, and my porta potty that's on the course is a sauna. So if I want to sit in a sauna for a little bit, I just go into there and I lose 10
man.
pounds, then I go back out and work.
Marinating. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we should all start bragging about our dew points. That'll be cool.
Yeah, certainly. Well, you know where it feels a little bit better weather-wise is up in Northern Europe. I'm going to start with a recap up there. We had both the Finnish and Estonian national championships. I am not even going to try to name them in their native languages, but that's what it was. It was very cool to see. I always like seeing these. They at least the Finnish one is held as an XA tier. They limit it to only Finnish players. I believe the Estonian one's the same. I don't know for certain, but I would assume that's the case. All Estonian players competing for their national title. Really, really cool to see. I always like doing this. And in Finland, to start off, we had, oh my goodness, Evelina Salonen. That is right. I had to look at my notes to remember this. It was so long ago. It was early Sunday morning. So much disc golf this weekend. But Evelina Salonen wins it for the second time in the last 3 years, and I believe her fifth win in her career at the Finnish National Championships. And listen to this number. Strokes gained tee to green for Evelyn Salonen. We know she's good at that. We do. But of course, this compares it to the field, so it's dependent on who's playing the event. But 43 strokes gained tee to green in this event. That is nuts. And she led in quite a few, parks, C1 regulation, C2 regulation, all the stats that's driving. She generally leads in. This event was really interesting. It was actually streamed on Disc Golf Network, I believe by the same crews that are doing all the Disc Golf Pro Tour Europe events. They were streaming this one as well. So we had a dual weekend on Disc Golf Network. Really cool to see. Hole 18 was really interesting as well. They played it over like a, almost like a town pond, like with a beach all around, and they're thrown all over the whole pond. Cool to see. In MPO, this is Timo Talikinen. I always try to pronounce it twice, and the second time's always worse. I just got to stop at one. He wins. He's actually the back-to-back reigning doubles champion with Miro Räikkönen, and was the 2022 Finnish junior champion. But he beats Nicholas Antila in a playoff. Really exciting. I believe Timo birdied the final hole to force a playoff and then wins it over there up in Finland. Again, that was on Disc Golf Network. I'm sure there's post-production of it as well. But over to Estonia, Albert Tom and Katie Alsalu both win the Estonian championship. And Tom shot an insane 1082 unofficial as of now, rated round. His fifth Estonian MPO title. And Alsalu also went wire to wire to win back-to-back Estonian titles. So Katie Alsalu is making a name for herself at some of the European Elite Series events. And then, of course, I think most of our listeners know who Albert Tom is, but the Bazooka, big name, big arm, lots of cool events. So cool to see that over the pond. I'm going to go right into the Des Moines Challenge, unless you guys really wanted to say something on the finish in Estonian National Championships. I don't want to stop you, but I'm going to take that as a
the
no.
best last name of all time.
I think it's a good one. Over in Des Moines, Iowa, I don't know the temperature there, but it looked hot. I feel like Iowa's always just as humid as we think in the summer. But Emily Weatherman gets her first Elite Series win. She wins it from the chase card, trailing by, I think it was 5 strokes into the final round. And this was a battle. It was neck and neck for a while, and it wasn't until the final few holes that Emily Weatherman really pulled away and made an awesome putt. Deep circle one, I believe, on the final hole to really put the pressure. And I think Natalie and Ryan was in the next available to win it from the lead card, but ultimately went OB on the final hole, giving the win to Emily Weatherman, who already had finished. Such an exciting battle. So she ultimately wins it in 3 strokes over Elise Midling and Natalie Ryan. She's a first-time Elite Series winner. We've seen quite a few this season. She's the 5th first-time Elite Series or major winner in FPO in 2024, which resets the record. My apologies here. I didn't notice this record before the 5th, but the previous record was 2. So we've been breaking it for quite a while now. To go through it, Anniken Sten won at Texas State, Ella Hansen at OTB, Holland Hanley at Beaver State, Silva Sarnen at Turku, and now Emily Weatherman at the Des Moines Challenge. That is a record at 5. I want to say like that record won't be broken because they broke it by so much already, but I don't know.
What is the record
changing
again, Evan? I literally may have missed it. I want to make sure.
The previous record was 2. We have now had 5.
What was the record though?
first time major and elite series winners in FPO.
First time winners. All right.
Yes.
Yeah. So we've had 5 first time winners this year.
Yeah. And the record
All
is by calendar year. So in a single year, how many first time winners we have? This year we're at 5. I probably need to repeat that. Thanks for asking.
Yeah. And could we get some more? I guess that's a rhetorical question at the moment, but
get some more what? Get some more first time winners?
Yeah.
Oh, you're asking. I see.
Yeah. I'm just saying, yeah. Thank you, Ben. Swapping us back and forth like I'm getting dizzy.
All right. Well, Emily Weatherman, as I said, won from the chase card. We've seen a few chase card, or really only one in recent history, which was Holland Hanley at the 2023 Throw Pink Women's Disc Golf Championship. But that was an XA tier, as we all know, and we say every single time. The only other kind of at this top tier event for FPO, a chase card winner, was Paige Pierce at the 2017 GMC, the Green Mountain Championship. Although interesting note, that was an 8-tier event that was held as a Disc Golf Pro Tour event, kind of in the early years of the Disc Golf Pro Tour. So that does make Emily Weatherman the first Elite Series chase card winner in FPO in history, and she does it while being incredibly young. I don't know her exact age, but I believe a teenager.
18.
Wow. I mean, that's insane and says a lot. She's a Disc Golf Pro Tour rookie. She's currently leading the Disc Golf Pro Tour rookie points over Elisa Midling and other notable players. Incredible win. She's been knocking at the door at a few good finishes, but I feel like this win blew away maybe expectations for everyone. So I want to hear some reactions. Ben, I'll start with you.
Tell me that again.
Emily Weatherman wins the True Big One Challenge. What are your reactions?
Okay, sorry.
I know you're producing. Thanks.
Yeah, I have a lot of things going on. My reaction when seeing that is it's really cool to see. Like we saw Gannon Burr, an up and coming teenager, where it was like, oh, like he's gonna be really good, and now he's dominating. It's really cool to see in the FPO field, kind of these girls that are inspired by these vets like Kristen and Paige and Katrina Allen for all these years, and now they're becoming the stars that they looked up to. And it's crazy that it was only 122 days, I believe, since she started, that 122 days later she won her first Elite Series. It's just, to me, it's a testament of the times in the FBO field are changing, and I think in a few years from now it's going to be really nitty gritty, and I think Kristen's going to start getting a run for her money in a few years, where these people like Ellie Ezra and Emily Weatherman and yeah, that's the two I can think of, are going to, just keep climbing and push that boundary of, what it takes to be elite and kind of rise the talent pool up. I thought it was a really cool win, and honestly, her putt on 18, like stone cold. Like I feel like that hasn't been getting enough praise. Like that was a 30-footer. Like she put it full heave and she drained it. It didn't matter in the end, but it did matter in that moment. So I'm excited to see more from her.
Well, yeah, it mattered because it put the pressure on the lead card. That's a huge putt, and Natalie Ryan went OB, I believe, was off the tee on hole 18, and she might have not done that if Emily Weatherman didn't make that putt. So that's really incredible to see. Josh, Nick, I'll throw it to both of you. Any reactions on Emily Weatherman?
No, I think it's great. I mean, we were talking about her just a short while ago, and she was, one throw away from potentially having a chance over at DDO. Very, very close call with the out of bounds. She thought she was in, could have made an argument for it, and so to see her finally come back a couple events later, knock down the win, and, I don't know if you call the coming from the chase card a dominating win, but a dominating last round. I mean, 1026 rated, taking home $8,000, winning by 3 strokes, solid final hole to really cap everything off and put a lot of pressure on the lead card. It's awesome. It was great to see. Her form is very, very compact, and she still throws a disc pretty far. Great putt when her putting's on. She was canning them, especially that final round. Very, very enjoyable to watch.
Yep. Not that you're going round robin here, Evan, but just to react. First of all, you missed the opportunity. Maybe it's a bad joke or not, but we were talking about the weather, and then you said Emily Weatherman, right? Perfect segue. And that putt on hole 18, I mean, honestly, that whole round, she just what would strike me is just the poise, because it's just like playing like consistently. when the pressure is on in a unique way when you're on the chase card. I guess in some ways you're chasing, but then she had the lead, so you feel that pressure. Yeah, and that was awesome. And that putt on hole 18, as you said, put the pressure back on the actual lead card. And I don't think we're going to talk much about it, but like Ian was celebrating the win upon that putt, so he felt like it was pretty big. But anyway, congrats to Emily.
Yeah, I'm actually forgetting the exact what was the lead card. Did they tee off on 18 by the time Emily hit that putt?
I don't think so. I think she had hit it earlier. I think they had a whole hole to play.
I think they definitely. Yeah, I believe she hit the putt and then a little after,
and then they had to tee off.
They tee it off.
Gotcha. Yeah. All right, good info there. One last stat on Emily Weatherman before we swing it over to MPO. She has now played 139 FPO rated rounds in her career. Started in 2019 in FPO, that is. The first 137, which go all the way through this first round of the True Bake Des Moines Challenge. She didn't have a single 1,000 rated round, which not is to knock her down, of course, for celebrating this win. But it is to flip it around and say, after that 137 without a 1,000 rated round, she now goes back-to-back 1,000 rated rounds. And Nick, you said the number, it was 1,000 and something, 1,026?
1,026?
Yeah, in the final round. That's insane. That's like a top-notch round. It's not quite like best ever, but like that probably will be like top 10 of the year, maybe. Maybe around that 8 to 15 of best rounds all year by round ratings in FPO. That deserves a lot of praise coming from the trace card, as we've noted. So great win for Emily. Let's bring it over to MPO. Talk about a player who's won a few times already. Anthony Barela gets his 4th Elite Series win of the year. It still feels surreal. He won his first just earlier this year down in Florida, where Nick is at the chess.com Invitational. He then won 2 and 3 soon after. And now he waits a couple months and then he's like, all right, I'm still incredibly good, and wins his 4th. This comes after a small little dip in his performance, maybe West Coast swing or so. He was down and outside the top 30, but he's right back and now winning events. He now becomes the 8th MPO player to win 4 or more major Elite Series events in a single season. Notably, Paul Macbeth has done it 6 times, Ricky Wysocki 4 times, Barry Schultz and Dave Feldberg 3 times, Eagle McMahon twice, but then Ken Climo only once. I mean, although due to his career timing and when the Elite Series were run, a little bit in the tail end of his career. And then Simon Lizotte has also done it. So Anthony Barela joining Elite Company, getting his first for the first time in his career. And we posed a question after his 2nd win, which would have been not Waco, Texas State's, right? That was his 2nd win, yes. Or was that his 3rd? Yeah, because he won Jonesboro 3rd. After Texas State's, we posed the question of like, how many wins is Anthony Barela going to get? And we weren't going too high. I think the highest anyone said was 4 or 5. I think I said 3, maybe 4. 4 was really pushing it, but I think I said 3.
I think we had phrased the question though more so, will AB get 4 wins? Like, I don't think we said how many wins is he going to get, but it was more like, will he get 3? Will he get 4?
I listened back to it a couple weeks ago. I need to re-listen to it to really get that down, because that's an interesting topic.
I think we did guess. I think we did guess like how many he would win. I do recall. I'm pretty sure I said at least 4. Like, I felt very confident saying he'd win at least 4.
When he wins his 5th, we'll listen back before the show.
I don't think anyone said 5. I can assure you that.
All right.
He's also traveling today to Europe, which is one of the reasons why we couldn't get him on for tonight, because he's traveling.
Yeah.
But we got the next best thing. Jake Mon, baby.
Sorry, Evan. Keep going.
Yeah, all right. I appreciate the humor, Ben. But so Anthony Barela wins his 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th DGPT win in the same calendar year. He becomes the first player ever to do that specifically, winning their 1st through 4th all in the same year. Not winning 4 DGPT events, winning their 1st DGPT event, and then through 4th all in the same calendar year. Never has been done before. That's insane to do something that no one's ever done before. Unbelievable. And if we do expand that out to major and Elite Series events, so we can go all the way back to 2003 to the first year of the National Tour, being the first year that 4 or more was possible. We had Carrie Berlagar do it in 2004, the second year of the Elite Series. She won her first through fourth. And then Eagle McMahon in 2018, he won 3 NTs and a major. I believe that was his Kona Peach Day year. And that's been it. So Anthony Barela is the fourth player all time when you expand, or sorry, third player. Woo. Third player all time to win their first 4. Oh man, stats got me turned around. But anyways, that's also really incredible. Really, point is setting some huge points here for getting his first through fourth. So Nick, thoughts on AB getting his fourth?
I knew it was coming. I said it earlier. I knew he had it in him. But no, it's been such a great year for AB. Couple ups and downs, don't get me wrong, but to win 4 events, his first 4 in the same calendar year, like you're talking about right now, is awesome. He's what I would argue to say he's the best player in the world right now. Backhand, forehand, putting. His putting has improved so much going from the last 2 years to this year. It's been incredible, and I also think the exposure that he's gotten, I've said it before, AB I think is one of the most marketable players in all of disc golf. I think when you go to an event live, you see a lot of Paul Macbeth hats and you see a lot of Anthony Barela jerseys and hats. I mean, the dude knows how to sell stuff. He sells discs well. He sells apparel well. He's the guy right now, I would say.
Did you see that second round? What was it? Chase card?
Yeah. With him,
Anthony
Adam, and
Barela,
Austin.
Yeah, Adam Hammis and Austin Turner all wearing the same exact AB jersey. And then Hammis and Anthony Barela were in the battle. I'm not even mentioning other names that much, but Adam Hammis was right in there, neck and neck with Barela for a while. Matty Yo ends up finishing in second. It was quite the battle. Mentioned just the winners, but I say we swing it over into our pop, drop, lock picks and do a quick recap.
Let's do it.
Just gotta find
I'm awful at this game.
Boom.
Wait.
I haven't looked at my points yet, so I actually have no clue where I stand.
I don't even look at my points anymore.
Yeah.
I remember, I put Ty Love as a drop, and at one point he was second place, and I was like, okay, this is just ridiculous.
Yeah, he played well.
Yeah,
for sure.
He didn't finish as well as
I won
he
this
could
week.
have, but what's that?
Yeah, I know.
Sorry, I'm literally stealing the thunder because I'm so proud.
Who won it?
Like the whole thing? or just
No,
us?
no.
Against
Oh,
us.
okay. You're not quite at Ben's
against
level.
us.
All right.
Ben, matching hats.
Yes.
It's not on my head
Hooligan
right now,
discs.
but I've got it.
Yes, Hooligan Discs. We'll shout them out when we make our picks, but shout out Hooligan Discs for free.
This is last week's recap.
Yeah.
And
I think I have the scores. I can just, intro them if you want. I think first we're going to go with Matt.
Oh, he's not on the show, so we can roast him. Minus
that's
30.
horrible.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, go ahead.
He picked Kevin Jones as his pop, and that got him quite a few negative. I can give him a hard time because, I can and can't. I also picked Kevin Jones as my pop, but thanks to a little rule called I take Matt's pops as my drops, that canceled out, and I thankfully got no negative points on that
There
one.
you go.
Kevin Jones hurt a lot of people, by the way, in pop, drop, block this week.
Yeah.
I mean, people trust me and Matt, and didn't show.
Yeah, it was
I
brutal.
don't know
Maybe
if you guys
don't.
saw, Ezra Robinson gave people 72 points for the drop. That was
Yeah.
Oh my
I saw his first round. He was 4 over through 6 or something like that, and I was like, ooh.
It was absurd.
Not gonna be a good day.
I think second to last is. Oh no, dude! I clicked picks. No. Okay.
We can't see this. I'm closing my eyes.
Sorry, yeah. Don't look at those. But
It's all right.
it's
We'll explain them later.
it's Nick Carl.
I got a negative 11, though.
Yes.
You did.
Does not surprise me.
Yeah. So that's tough. We'll go to Evan.
Wait.
What?
Oh, I thought this was last week's pick. I was
No,
like,
no,
I picked
this is-
Paul
Yeah,
to
No,
win a
he's
tournament.
telling next week's picks. But
Okay.
you got minus 11
Oh, I
this
just
week.
confused myself so
Yeah.
bad. Sorry,
Yeah.
keep going. Evan, 14 points.
Man.
Right.
Yeah, I was so locked in on Isaac Robinson. He had an okay event. I mean, what was it, 14th, 15th?
Yeah.
Didn't win. That's a bummer. I, on the other hand, own Scoggins felt so confident with going into that final round. I'm like,
Oh, I know.
never played in Iowa before, and she's winning this thing. But
And that
congrats to Emily
round
Weatherman.
was
It's
not
okay.
an Owen Scoggins round. It came out of
No.
nowhere. It was just
Nope.
really uncharacteristic. Never mind if she could win or not, but she only needed a below average own round to still win. And she was like disaster zone.
Below
Anyway,
average
keep going.
And then
That's all I had to say on my picks. So Ben, on to you.
we know who won, so it's me. I got a 43. I'm chipping away at Matt slowly. And
It's a 70-point swing.
yeah, and I will say, even though Matt doesn't agree with me, next week, very important.
Big points.
It's the way to get big points. I mean, it's just apparent to me.
Yeah, only if you're right though.
Yes. Yeah. If you pick on the correct side of
Yes, that would be true.
of the swing, 20 to 30 point swing, you can get consistent 20 30 points, which I found interesting because the highest score here with Ezra was only like 98. So Ezra was like the huge swing, and I guess everyone else kind of either just didn't pick the right people or it was kind of
literally the
pretty
top
similar.
The top 6 people all had Ezra Robinson.
Yeah.
So that was the big score this week. That was like winning.
But
the
it's
lottery.
crazy that like the top was 98 and 72 of that was Ezra. So he didn't really have anything. So it was like a weird
Right,
week.
that's what I'm saying. Everybody who picked Ezra got to the top, and they had horrible picks across the board.
It's weird
But
how that happened. And then Josh, congratulations.
Thank
win
you.
the
I don't know
week.
if it's my first time on the top of us.
I'm
but
not
it's
sure
close.
either.
68 points. Hey, but like, so that's not like a giant number, but when you compare it to minus 30, and I pick up 98 on Matt.
That's
Not
a
bad.
huge.
That's
All
a
right,
huge
so
win.
you ready?
Yeah,
So
what's
Ben,
the
you
update?
actually took first place overall this week. You said you were creeping up on Matt, but that's not creeping up anymore.
You have
So,
officially crept.
Yeah, Matt is 50 points back of you, so
Oh
that's
my
just
goodness.
easily a 1 week swing. I'm 184 back of Matt. I used to be way back, but that's actually starting to get reachable with weeks like this. And then we have Nick. Now, Nick, the problem is you didn't pick in this during the Swedish Open.
So I got 0 points for that.
Yeah, and so you're still within striking distance with a
If
couple
anything,
good
I'm
weeks.
clearly doing better by not picking than I am by picking.
That's what I was about to say.
Yeah, I say when you get negatives, it's true, right? Yeah, like you could have been worse. But Evan, obviously you're kind of one hand tied behind your back, but you're only 45 points behind Nick.
Yeah, I don't want to hear it. I'm a level playing field as I consider it.
All right,
So,
but I do just so kudos to you. One of these times we'll go through like season stats for us. You have the most total season points by far for MPO Pop, just so you'll know.
wow.
Yeah,
Hey,
you're beating all
stroking
of
my
us
ego
by
here.
What?
almost double.
Let's go.
Even with your minus 34 with Kevin this week. So
Yeah,
That's
that's hurting my
so
season-long
listeners,
stats. Good point.
copy Evan's MPO Pop,
Yeah,
except for this last week.
That's good. But people are going to play the fantasy game within this fantasy game.
Yeah.
No, I'm apparently I'm a good MPO pop picker. Don't pick my FPO locks. I guess I don't know. So
Yeah,
figure it out.
awesome. Good week. We'll come back with our picks for Crocal Open.
Yes.
Yes.
Shout out
A
to
little
Hooligan.
later in the
We'll
show.
talk more about them.
Yeah.
But Ben, how are we looking? Are we
he's
green roomed?
not in yet.
Okay.
I will let you
All right,
guys
yes.
know.
Let us know when he's in. So we talked a little bit about AB earlier. I just want to ask, or maybe make a comment. So, because you made it in passing, Nick, but he came out firing right out of the gate. Like, we're like, has anybody had a season start like this? We talked about how many he would win. Then he goes like cold. Like, given the level he was playing at, I'll say ice cold. Maybe that's not quite fair, but he was way down the leaderboard on some of those weeks. And then to show back up here, like, what is that about? I mean, that's entirely speculation, but what I mean is you have somebody like Gannon Burr who does not have the same amount of wins. He has 3, but his average finishes are like 7 or 8 places higher, whatever they are. I don't have the number in front of me, but it's a lot higher. Is that just a matter of like AB figuring it out? Is that the kind of player he is? Is there anything else going on? Obviously, it's total speculation on our part, but it's intriguing to me to see that. Are we going to expect to see that again?
I mean, potentially, kind of looking at his PDGA page right now, I mean, his 2 worst events were back-to-back up in Portland. 44th at the Portland Open. He did cash. He got $455 for that. But then a 61st place over at the Beaver State Fling, missing cash at that one. He's got a 10th at Champions Cup, 14th at DDO, 18th at OTB. All courses, maybe not Champions Cup as much, but like the other courses are all ones where you could pick AB and feel confident that he should do well at those. And for some reason had a bad Portland swing. I don't know. Maybe there was a lingering injury. Maybe, popped finger blood blister that a ton of the pros are getting throughout the year. Who knows? I have no actual idea, but definitely I would say, like, the way we're seeing a season is it's more fluky for him to have two bad events in a row than it is for him to, pop off another win. Like, I would see AB getting another win before missing cash or having two 40th place finishes in a row.
Yeah, I think I agree, but that's kind of why it's my question, and obviously just speculation, because it's like, I don't know. You see the type of player. This is a tough comparison, but for example, Simon Lizotte usually either seems to have like an on weekend or an off weekend. Is that AB at all? Like, does he have an on weekend and an off weekend, and you just never know which one you're going to get? And he happened to have a lot of them early on.
I think that's AB this year. Yeah. In years past, we would see AB for like 3 rounds or 2 rounds absolutely kill it, and then get put onto that lead card the final round, and then kind of choked it away a few times. I mean, most notably European Open, we could say. We're going to talk a little bit more about that later, but this year we're kind of seeing him be more on than he is off. So I think him, Gannon Burr, Simon Lizotte, when they're all playing their best, they're 3 of the top 5 best players in the world right now. Like, I still think by far, like, Simon, when he is playing his best, and we've seen it this year over at Music City Open, so he still has it. It's not like we're not seeing Simon at all, but when they are on, they're incredibly hard to beat.
Yeah. Go ahead, Evan.
I was just going to say, like, I don't know if this deviates a little bit from the discussion, but as far as Anthony Barela and Gannon Burr, I want to know something really interesting. Is Gannon Burr, he only has finished outside the top 10 once this entire year. And I think that speaks a lot to that consistency that Gannon Burr has. Meanwhile, Barela has like four finishes outside the top 10, which, I mean, I'm not trying to like knock Anthony Barela down for that, but more of show the consistency of Gannon Burr. But this is what's crazy to me is Gannon Burr finished 13th at the OTB Open. That's his worst finish, only outside the top 10. He still finished better than Anthony Barela, who finished 18th. And then his second worst finish, which was exactly 10th, so in the top 10, tied for 10, which is I'm alluding to something, is Anthony Barela was also tied for 10. So Gannon Burr's worst finish was better than Anthony Barela. His second worst finish on the year tied Anthony Barela. Mm-hmm. So I think that really, really shows the consistency that Gannon Burr has week in and week out. His off weekend for, again, a teenager is better than the guy we're arguing might be the player of the year with him.
Well, Evan, who's your player of the year?
I was just going to say, it's too early to really like conclude, but it's always fun to speculate. Yeah. So you've got AB. You just mentioned a lot of stats, right? But he's got 4 wins. Gannon Burr has 3 wins.
At major and elite series events.
Yes, correct. Yes, thank you. AB's got an average finish of 13th versus Gannon's average finish of 4th. And cash has nothing to do with player of the year, but I find it intriguing. Gannon's got $18,000 more in winnings. Just
a lot of people like to look at cash. Like a lot of people see that as like the signifier of winning the biggest events. I mean, and it's also incentivizes winning because winning pays more than a third place finish.
Yeah, and Gannon's beating everybody by about $15,000. So
yeah, actually, I was just looking at that. He's already made $69,000, and that doesn't include the $3,300 that he just made. So he's looking at $73,000 already, and we're, I don't know, do we consider ourselves at this point at the halfway point of the year? Like, I feel like we've played half the year so far. Maybe we're even getting
I think we're a little bit past
the halfway point.
Yeah, I think we're past. Yeah.
And we're kind of coming in, so maybe we're 2/3 done of the year, and we're finishing up. We've got 3 more months of solid tournaments, I would say, kind of looking into July, August, September, 4 more months of solid tournaments coming up with a lot of Elite Series events. What do we have? 2 more majors still for the MPO side?
We have three more majors, right?
3. I'm sorry, European Open.
FPO?
Yeah, European Open.
Yeah, obviously European Open coming here soon, and then Worlds in August and USGC in October.
So
big events yet to come. Plus, I mean, Disc Golf Pro Tour playoff events, some Ledgestone, which Elite Plus, DGPT Plus. That's a huge win if you get that one, and then of course, GMC Maple MVP Open being played. There's a lot of big wins to get, and not that either of these players don't have big wins already. I mean, Gannon Burr won 2 DGPT Plus events. I don't think Anthony Barela has any DGPT Plus, but obviously just any Elite Series win is fantastic. I'm not trying to, again, take away from that. But I think there's lots to think about here.
All right. Without diving nearly as deep, and again, Ben, just keep us posted.
I'm trying.
No, that's fine.
Okay.
I'm just saying, just let us know if we're talking too much.
No, keep going.
So FPO, and if we want to crunch at the same extent, but we have 3 players with 3 wins. Again, classifying elite and major, right? So like that's crazy. And of course, Kristen is one of those, but she's also only entered 7 events and won 3 of them. So it's just kind of a weird twist, right? And I believe we're going to see her back at Crokle this weekend. I think she's registered at
She
least.
signed up for it.
Yeah, and I think that was her original plan. So like that to me is just like puzzling because we've had so many, Evan, you talked about it tonight, new players with first time wins in a season. We have young players. We see players like Silva Saarinen, not exclusively to elite, but winning like every event in like a month, like back to back to back. So we just have all these like intriguing storylines, but then you have somebody like Kristen who hasn't been consistent. So I don't know quite yet what to make of that. But Nick, are you taking Evelina's year, Missy's year, or Kristen's year, all with 3 wins right now? And then you have somebody like Silva sneaking up behind maybe with 2 wins. I don't know. It's interesting.
I mean, kind of just quickly looking at it like that, you said Kristen's only entered 7 events and she's won 3 of them.
Yeah.
Compared to Missy's played probably a majority of the FPO events that have been available so far this year.
Yep, she's had 13 events and won 3 of them. Yep.
Yeah. So, I mean, realistically, when you're talking about the percentages and taking Kristen's season over it, but it's still really close because Missy got the major, which was huge.
Yeah,
And,
I think that's a factor.
Yeah, and so and then Evelina's got the major up at Champions Cup, right?
Right. So
both
it's
of them have the major,
impossible
and
to say
Kristen-
now because there's still more majors looming. But could you, if you had to stop right now, could you give Kristen Player of the Year over Evelina or Missy?
I don't think technically right now I could, just because
I don't think you
she doesn't
can.
have the M. You know, she doesn't have the major, and
Agreed.
it's huge in our sport, especially. Our biggest major is the World Championships. We've seen Kristen obviously have success at it the last 2 years in a row, and we haven't seen that same success out of Missy Gannon and or Evelina. So that one being one of the biggest majors, but then we also have European Open coming up. Yeah, so right now it's kind of Missy and Evelina's, year, so to say, right now. But I think it's tough. And really quick before we bring on Jake is, how many Elite Series events do you need to outweigh a major? Like if Kristen had 5 wins, Elite Series events, with Missy's 3 with 1 major, who's having the better season? Like what is our number that we weigh them?
I'm going to answer this in the worst way possible and say there is no number. We can look at last year in MPO. Isaac Robinson wins 2 majors.
Mm-hmm.
Calvin Heimberg wins 0. He won 2, 3 Elite Series events, and he was overwhelmingly the favorite to win Player of the Year and did for the Disc Golf Pro Tour. I think there's more factors at play than just wins when voting comes into play, and people really consider consistency and some wins better than no consistency and more wins or more prestigious wins. Yep. So it's a hard answer to quantify, and we can certainly have our own like chosen quantifiable rankings of how events compare to others. But at the end of the day, I think some people are different, and it's the masses have lots of different opinions. I don't know if we can figure out the exact way to do it. But the last thing I want to say on Player of the Year from my point of view is on the Statmando Player of the Year rankings, which consider your top 8 events using the other Statmando official rankings calculations into it. Kristen Starr, you said, has only played 7 or maybe 8 if you
7.
consider all events. Okay, 7.
Okay.
Either way, that considers the top 8. She has a commanding lead over Missy Gannon and Evelina Salonen. She's 700 points at 4,100 compared to Missy Gannon at 3,400 and Evelina Salonen in the same by 100. It's just a little bit behind. So to me, that says that the quality of wins that Kristen Tatar has are very good, but then the other finishes are so good that you rate those higher, even when you're only considering the top 8. So it really interesting as Kristen Tatar comes back and plays more events. If Missy, Evelina, Holland Hanley, Owen Scoggins, whoever can play even better to catch her.
Bingo.
We're all set.
Alrighty. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have brought Jakeem, who just recently placed 5th over at the True Bank Des Moines Challenge presented by DGA. So, Jake, come on in. And when you are ready, we will give you a nice welcome and hello. I see Ben's background.
Give
us 1 minute.
Give me a second.
A couple seconds or a second?
No, give me 1 second. For some reason, when he clicked the link, it just wasn't. But I just gotta.
Oh yeah,
I
blame
gotta,
it on the
I gotta
guest.
pull. I gotta pull some magic. Don't you worry. Don't you
we
worry,
appreciate
Jake.
and trust you, Ben. You can do it.
I want to know who
I
we
think the
talked
number's
about
3, Evan.
player of the year. I want to know. We need to have like a host of the year, like competition.
Producer of the year.
Yeah, producer.
Yeah.
I don't know. We kind of
That's a
have
tough battle. That's 50-50 between Ben and Matt sometimes, I feel like.
All right, give me 1 second, and we'll bring him in. And
I don't think 1 second means what you think it means, but that's all right.
oh yeah, what about
You
this?
keep using that word. I don't think you know what it means.
1 second.
Come on, everybody. There he is. What's going on, Jake? How are you?
I'm pretty good. Finally
Very
in
good.
the room.
Yeah, I hear
Oh
you.
It was
my
a
goodness.
struggle.
Yeah.
You know, we got you in, though. You are here. You're coming off of a kick-ass finish over at the Des Moines Challenge. Talk to us about it just straight up. You know, how did everything feel going into the week? And give us your insight.
Yeah, so my brothers came up this week, so that maybe was it. But yeah, I feel like I've been getting better and better each week, especially with Preserve. I finished 17th. I played well at the Majestic last week. Had a rough finish at the Majestic. And then this week I was able to just lock in during the round and actually play my game, and it worked out pretty well.
What do you feel like locked you in?
I was just able to not worry about what what was gonna happen or what had happened. I was just like, all right, look, I got this shot right here. Let's throw that, and then it was working out for me.
Okay. And you're coming off of was it wrist or hand? You're coming off a pretty significant injury
Yeah,
earlier this year, right?
I broke my thumb right here at the base. It's what's called a Bennett's fracture,
Mhm.
and I forgot how to describe it, but yeah, it's about right there at the base of my thumb.
And you feel like you're on the up and up with all of that? Like everything's good now?
Yeah, so I broke it a week before chess. So the week before we were about to leave, and then I was out for 10 weeks. My first event back was MCO. And then now I feel like it's probably at 95, 96%. It's still a little stiff, but yeah, it's pretty much back to normal.
Mm-hmm. So obviously this is your best finish that you've had on the Elite Series events, and you're signed up for a lot of them throughout the year. You've played a pretty good amount of them so far. What does this mean to you, and what is this going to do for your future? You know, do you have any doubts with playing, or do you feel like, hey, you know, I can go out there and compete? Here I am.
Yeah, it was definitely a confidence boost this week because I definitely did get into that mindset of man, I broke my hand. Am I going to get back to where I was? Can I get, even better than I was? So it's definitely it's going to be a confidence booster going forward.
And what are your goals for the 2024 season?
I want to make the Pro Tour finale. I got a long ways to go, and then I want to hit 1020 rated. I want to get above that 1020 rating threshold.
I would say this was a pretty good week averaging wise. It
Yeah.
looks like a 1079 rated final round. I mean, that's awesome.
So close to 1080. So close to 1080.
Yeah. Not a lot of people can say they've hit that. So, and you know, you'll probably get it before a majority of people. But talk to us a little bit about, you know, your traveling situation. What are you? It looks like you're in an RV. You know, what do you do to get around event to event?
Yeah, so we're in a Class C RV. We tow around a Jeep. I'm traveling with Evan Scott at the moment. He's not here. They actually left yesterday, him and Carries, to go to Europe. They're flying out on Thursday, I think. So they're driving back home to South Carolina or North Carolina today. And then the other fly out on Thursday.
And then,
So,
so are
yeah, me and
you
Evan-
just battling out some A tiers coming up in the next few weeks?
Yeah, so my younger brother Ryan, I think you guys talked to him a few weeks
did.
ago.
Yeah.
He's playing. He played Des Moines last week, and then we're playing Kansas City this week, and then he's playing Junior Worlds in Tulsa the week after. So I decided to stay back and hang out with my family for 2 weeks because I get to see my older brother, younger brother, and then my mom and dad will be here in a few weeks as well. So I wanted to see
Very
them.
cool. And how does your parents, how do they feel about the disc golf lifestyle that it seems like you've chosen, your brother seems to have chosen? You know, what do they see in it?
They are all for it. They love it. They
Nice.
love to see us compete. They love to see us out here. They're all very supportive of it.
That's awesome. And is disc golf, you know, kind of you're playing full time now? I'm assuming this is your full time career. Is it everything you hoped and dreamed of? And if there are any, what are the downsides to it?
Oh, it's a lot of fun. Definitely a lot more. Definitely hitting more of the grind here in my second year, like figuring out like, yeah, you got to keep working every week, and there's all these guys like Ryan's age, coming up to get you, so you gotta keep working every week.
Mhm. What do you what is your work ethic in disc golf? For a lot of people that are coming up into the sport, we get a lot of amateur listeners on the show. What does it take to compete on the pro tour and potentially get a top 5 finish at an Elite Series event?
Um, I think it's different from person to person. For me personally, I got to work on. I think right now my forehand needs work, so probably be working on that a lot of the times. Some other people, might not need as much practice. It's really finding out what works for you and stick to that. You best, so figure out what works for you.
That makes sense. Panel, if you guys have anything, feel free to just cut me off. If not, we're just going to keep firing questions at
Yeah,
you.
I mean, I'll jump in, and Nick, I'll come
Go
back
for
to
it.
you as well. So,
Yeah.
hey, Jake, yeah, it's fun having your brother on here a couple weeks ago, and now you. And we actually talked about you a little bit in that interview, just asking about the brother connection and how that is in the family. And you just mentioned how supportive the family is, you choosing to stay back. And actually, I think your first response to Nick was, "Hey, my brothers were there." So I'm just like curious, like, is does that help you like mentally? Is that like a positive feeling for you? And then do you feel like that mental comfort plays out on the course? Is that something you're discovering?
Yeah, I think I'm really close with all my family members, dad, mom, brothers, and having my older brother on the bag this week, he was just like somebody to talk to, keep me just not thinking so much about like, hey, messed that up on the last hole. Like I got a birdie, whatever. We were just able to live in the moment, be present, and just play disc golf. It was great. It was great. So yeah, I would definitely say they're a big help.
That's awesome. So yeah, you have the past 2 events are your 2 best finishes on tour. If we count like, elite or pro tour and major events.
Hmm.
And then you go back to 2022, and that's where a lot of us recognize your name from USDGC. And then you also had a really strong showing at Worlds that year as well. And then you kind of have 2023 stitched in between. So what is different the last few weeks? And have you actually kind of inspected that in your own mind to say like, hey, obviously I want to like continue to see this success. Was there anything you did differently that you hope to carry forward? Or is it more a matter of you've been doing the same thing and it's finally just paying dividends? Did anything change for you?
Yeah, I would say I definitely started putting in a little more work recently. All of last year I was trying a few different things. It was the first year on the road, so I was getting used to like tour life and whatnot. And then this year it was trying to this year was a lot of getting healthy because
Mm.
like I said, I broke my thumb, and then I got cleared to play the Monday before MCO, and then immediately started playing after 10 weeks of not throwing. So I started ripping up my shoulder because I had
Mm.
no strength in my shoulder. And then like at Milo, I felt really good at Beaver State Fling. And then right before the tournament started, I had another flare up with my shoulder. Seth Muncie has helped me out a lot with my shoulder issue, and been doing a lot more strengthening exercises, a lot more stretching, taking care of my body a lot more, just being able to feel 100% on the course. So I think that's probably what it is, just taking care of my body more and feeling healthy.
Yep. Yeah, I think we talked to obviously a whole range of players on our show, and hearing how everybody's kind of balancing that. Health is a very personal thing, but there are some patterns and trends. And like you said, recovering and then having 10 weeks off and then throwing. And it's like, yeah, you may be young, but you're only getting older, especially if you talk about the wear and tear, any professional athlete, right? So the sport of disc golf, yeah, the amount of force and all that. So it's interesting hearing you kind of learn through that. So, well, hopefully whatever you're kind of learning from this experience and improving is something you continue to kind of double down on. Yeah, Nick, I'll bring it back to you, or if anyone else on the show has anything to add.
Well, I think
Thank you,
we were talking about this earlier. We're kind of hitting the final third of the season. We've got 3 majors coming up. I know you're not going over to Europe, so for you personally, there's 2 more coming up with USDGC, which I'm assuming you just qualified for
Preserve.
at
I
Des Moines,
qualified
right?
at Preserve. I
Okay,
qualified at
perfect.
Preserve. Yeah.
Very cool. So you got Worlds and USDGC come up. with a few more events sprinkled in there.
Hmm.
Do you kind of had a later start to the season due to the hand injury, but this is a point where you do see a lot of pros, they start to get burnt out. It's hot out there, it's a lot of wear and tear on the body. Do you feel like you're just excited to be back playing? You're just jazzed to be out there again? Do you feel like your mental game is maybe at a higher level than a lot of people out there right now?
Yeah. So during those 10 weeks of not being able to throw with my right hand, I like to work a lot on like I've spent a lot of time on like the practice screen, driving range, and whatnot, but I couldn't because my hand was broken. So I spent a lot of time thinking about how can I change the way I think on the course? How can I not do what I was doing and figure something else out so I can be more locked in on the course. So I spent a lot of time researching stuff about my mental game,
Mhm.
and I feel like that has taken a huge switch recently.
What is
So
something that you've done to help your mental game? Is it meditation? Is it yoga? What are you doing?
I was meditating for a little while. I tried that out. I kind of want
It's
to get back
boring.
into it. It is boring. It is really effective though if you can actually do it. But no, I was reading up on like golf mental game books and seeing how golfers react, and also just being out on. I was out on the road with my broken hand, so just watching people play on the pro tour, seeing how they react,
Yeah.
and it's crazy the role your mind can play. Because at the preserve, hole 17, I had a putt from like 25 feet and I missed it and put it in the water. I go back out there, grab my soaking wet putter out of the water and make it 5 times. Nothing changed, just what's up in your head changed.
Mhm.
So it's showing me like how much your mind can play and change the situation that you're in.
Do you feel like when you were injured and you're watching other people play, do you feel like there was anything that you took away that you're like, I don't want to act like that on the course?
Yeah, I do. Like I watch some people, they get super frustrated really quick, and I was just like, try to just relax and like it's. My dad's always taught me, he's like, it's a game. You're playing a game. Like at the end of the day, you're playing a game. Like just
Yeah.
throw the frisbee.
It's your job, but it is, and it's not like other jobs. It is a
Hmm.
game that, people are fortunate to be able to make a living out of now.
Hmm.
Do you feel, I don't know your game exactly, but one of the things that we first started hearing about your name, I would say, is back at USDGC. I think you had made a lead card for one or two of the rounds, and that's where we started seeing you pop off a little bit. We're getting into a stretch of a lot of wooded courses. The World's course is a pretty wooded one. Smugs Notch, Maple
Hmm.
Hill. All those courses are on more, I would say, the wooded side of things, with a couple open courses sprinkled in there here and there. But where do you feel like your game excels at the most? Des Moines being what I think more people would consider kind of an open course, a little bit longer throwing.
Yeah, so I grew up in South Carolina, and being like an hour away from Charlotte, we got a lot of wooded courses and a few open courses. So I feel like my strengths are in the woods a little bit. And then like we're talking about New London. We've played there a few years. I absolutely love that course.
Yeah.
I feel like that's going to suit me well. And then I've been working a little bit more on my distance because my distance did lack a little bit. So I've been
Okay.
trying to figure out, ways to gain a little bit more distance for these longer courses like the Moines.
Where do you feel like you're at golf distance wise? Are you, 450 consistently? Are you more like a 425, or are you more than that?
I would say 450 consistently for sure. I think I can get a comfortable like 480, and then if I need to like push one over 500, I could, but I don't like to very often. I don't like to throw at 100%
Yeah.
um, on the course very much.
So coming from Des Moines, it was technically a six-stroke loss for you. Anthony beat you by 6 strokes. Now I'm sure you can take over the 3 rounds, 6 putts, 6 drives, 6 OB strokes, whatever. You can probably take 6 strokes somewhere if you pluck them out. Where are those strokes that, what didn't get you to 31 under par?
Mm. Um, I can tell you one. I missed like a 15-foot par putt on the first hole of the tournament.
Okay.
That there's one of them. And then there's a lot of it in my forehand. I think my forehand is like it's good, but I don't trust it. I'm not confident in it. So I try to like force backhands, or I'll throw a forehand and like not be confident, and I'll saw it off early. I can think of 3 holes that I saw it off beforehand. So I mean, they could be there.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'd say my forehand this week. It's been putting in weeks past, but
Yeah. After a
Well, I'm just
weekend
gonna
like this
like
last one. Oh, I'm sorry, Josh. Go
no,
ahead.
I'm just interrupting, and I'm gonna let you come
No,
back
you're
to
good.
Nick. But Nick, if the Jake, if the stats are right, you only missed one C1X putt all weekend.
that was a 1.
Okay, just making sure because you're like, oh,
Yeah.
I missed that one, and I'm like, you only missed one entirely.
Yeah.
So anyway, Nick,
No,
you can keep going.
It was kind of funny the putt on 1 because I missed a 15-footer on 1, and then I started thinking I was like, oh, we're gonna have one of these days again, and then I made like a 60-footer on hole 2, and then I got kind of confused.
Yeah,
And
nice.
I was
I
able to just not think and just putt. I was able to just like be clear and putt, not thinking about it too much.
Awesome. Well, sorry to interrupt, Nick, but I'm
No,
like,
you're
yeah,
good.
literally, 32 out of 33 C1X putts. Strong weekend in that front, at least.
Jake, what you said made me laugh that, oh, it's going to be one of those days. And I can vividly remember a quick little 30-second rant. I was at Lake Marshall a couple years ago. The first round was over on the Lions, which I'm not a power thrower. I'm never going to score well, but I had a bad day. Didn't putt well, whatever. The next day was over on the Lair, which is my cup of tea. All in the woods, not super long holes. And I threw a forehand right into the first tree. And I turned around, looked at my car, and said, oh, it's going to be one of those friggin' days
Yep.
again. And,
Yep.
it's just such a funny feeling. And then, who knows? Maybe you jam that 60-footer in the second one, you get top 5 at an Elite Series event. With this past weekend just happening, obviously it's a huge confidence boost, especially going into the final third of the year. Did this give you a feeling of, and maybe you had this feeling before, but did this kind of put the icing on the cake of like, hey, you're here to compete and you can win one of these events? Do you have that feeling in your head right now?
I do. Yeah, that getting like that top 5 and just that. I think I birdied the last 4 holes on that last round to shoot
Sick.
12 under on the last day, and just being able to be present in the moment and not think about like, oh, I need to get these birdies, and just like, okay, I can throw the shot. Break it down, make it simple.
Yeah.
Because yeah.
Do you remember what number card you were on the final round? Were you
I want to say it
chase
was
third,
fourth.
fourth?
I think it was 4th card. Yeah.
Any gallery following along with you?
No.
Oh, I was going to say, how was it playing? Well, you played USDGC. You made a lead card there. Do
Yeah.
you remember what that feeling was in front of the gallery?
Oof, 2022 was a while ago. It was definitely fun playing in front of the gallery. I'm really excited to get to do it again, one day.
Yeah, no, I totally get what you mean. Kind of, before we let you go, unless anyone says anything else, but just kind of looking at your PDGA page right now, you just played the Minnesota Majestic. First off, that's one of my destination courses. Get out to BRP. I've always wanted to get out there. How does that feel where it's not an Elite Series event, but it's a very, very stacked event? A lot of great players went to that. What is the feeling kind of going to a large A tier like that?
That one was a little different, because like you said, I think I heard that it was the most 1,000 rated players in an A tier field ever. But that one was just a little bit different because BRP and then the hollows that they introduced for it were very much like birdie or die courses. You got to get a lot of birdies out there to win. I think Andy won with like a 41 or 42 under, something like that.
Yep.
So you
Yep.
got to that was a lot different style than Pro Tour courses. But I mean, it was the same. You got to keep the same mentality of like, you're here to win. You can't just be like, oh, I know some people will think about it as like, oh, it's not a Pro Tour week. This is kind of just like a relaxed A tier, but you just got to go in there with the same mentality.
Yeah, it's definitely not a
of
relaxed
being
A tier when you have the most 1,000 rated players ever at an A tier. I mean, that's pretty wild in and of itself. You have a Q Series event coming up. The qualifying series is new to the tour this year. Do you know much about? So it's funny because we're running the finale over here at Olympus down in Florida, but throughout the year, as you play the Q Series events, like what does this do if you were to win at the Kansas City Wide Open? Do you know what that does for you going into either next year or this year? I don't remember exactly how the standings and everything work with the qualifying series.
I think I think if you won, it just like guarantees you a tour card or a spot.
Okay.
I haven't looked too much into it.
Yeah.
I think we will a little bit later because like Ryan, my little brother, he's going to be trying to get his tour card for next year. So we'll probably look more into that. But off the top of my head, no, I don't know exactly what it is.
I don't either. I feel like I should, but
Yeah,
I
me
just
too.
don't. Sorry.
Yeah.
Anyways, well, we Josh, you have anything else? Ben?
No,
I
nothing
do
here.
not.
Just to say, yeah, thank you, Jake, for joining. It's
Yeah.
always great for us to get insights of players who are figuring out their performance and moving up the leaderboard. It's exciting for us to watch. So hoping the best for you as you continue to plug away.
Thank you for having me on. Yeah.
Of course. Best of luck to you. Enjoy your travels, and good luck at your next events.
Thank you so much.
All right. Take it easy, Jake.
Thank you, Jake.
Yep.
Dude, I messed up on the buttons there. That was.
Well, it's funny when just right at the end right there when it's happening right now to where I'm talking but Josh is on the screen, I
Yeah.
feel like I should be like, you know, if Josh is
miming.
talking but it's me
Like I
on the
should
screen,
move my
should I be
lips?
like trying to match his words just like silently?
That'd be a fun game.
I was trying
Like
to get
have
us
like a
all
ghost
up on the
interview.
screen to say bye, but then it was just too much. It was so then that's why you got stuck there for a bit.
So you're still at technically Matt's old house right now, right?
Yes, I'm here at the 38 Pine Ridge Drive house. No, I'm kidding. That's not his address. Don't look that up.
Ben's like
when
giving
is the
away all his
move
personal
to
info.
the next studio?
So we're gonna move. No, Matt's gonna move. I think his closing's the end of the month, as in July. So I think
Gotcha.
that's when it's gonna be. Can't say where it is, but it's gonna be the sickest thing ever. And if I was close to 40, I don't or 40, I'd be doing the same. So yeah.
You don't have to be
Yeah.
40 to buy a house in a decent spot there, Ben.
Well, I wouldn't buy a single family. I was looking at a multifamily. I was supposed to buy one, but it didn't work out. But yeah, currently, hey, I'll put this out here. If anyone has a multifamily in Massachusetts, or anywhere near New England, and wants to sell it to me off market, hit me up. I'm definitely looking. So,
There
thank
go.
you. Reach
Awesome.
out.
All right, can I bring up a totally random topic?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Well, it's not. Not random is actually not the right word. It's just there's no smooth segue. Nick, you mentioned it briefly. You said, "Oh, we're going to talk about European Open." Now, here's the thing: Crocal's this coming weekend. We're going to do picks for it. It's a great event. We're not overlooking it. It's a strong field. But European Open's a major, and it's just kind of, I'm going to say leaked out, but I don't think it's actually leaked. Right? It's official out there. But hole 16, right? This like.
Mhm.
I mean, it's iconic. Probably, I'd have to think back over the years of the different shots we've seen, the pressure it kind of gives. But most recently, what do we know? Like AB, straight up, I'm going to say losing
Yeah.
the major on that hole, and not just because of the way he threw the hole, which was poor, but because of the rules on the hole kind of reinforced that dramatic effect, right? It's literally like you throw and he's throwing again and again and again, trying to make that. And I believe I'm going to say right now, I have not had time to research if there's anything more official, but I think we're seeing basically the caddy book or T signs or something of that sort showing that they are adapting the rules for that hole to be more traditional at disc golf, which includes drop zones. And then if you don't get it again, you advance to another drop zone. And so you're kind of limiting the dramatic effect.
Completely.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
what, like, I just, it's a couple weeks away, so we don't need to like drain this. This is not a 20-minute topic. What's the gut reaction though? Like, you like it? You don't like it? I think you
No,
already
don't
said.
like it. Yeah, gut reaction. And I remember it was something like, it was on Twitter. And I think when I first saw it, Hunter Thomas from Foundation had posted it. And, they host a rather large podcast. And so it gets a lot of interaction over on Twitter as well. And, just kind of going through the comments and just seeing how other people think about it and reading the rules of the hole now. I was bummed in the sense of, I think, you got 16, 17, and 18. 16 being just a dog of a hole because of how it is. Now, if you just put a basket out there, the way that the hole is played with no rules or stipulations or anything like that, it's a very easy hole for pros to get up and down, but make it a bunker and make them throw the shot from 250 to 350 to even 400 feet potentially. And if they don't make it, they have to throw from that same spot again. It's just a dog of a hole. And I think because you feel like you're with the player at that moment. Like I'm a big AB fan, so I'm always rooting for AB. And so when you see him step up to that hole, you want him to throw it onto the island the first shot or the bunker the first shot. And when he doesn't, it's like it's heartbreaking. And then it's like, okay, well if he puts it on this time, he's fine. He'll save a par or whatever. But then when it doesn't happen, and again and again, and then you start to feel bad at that point. But then when Corey Ellis steps up, puts it on the island, you're like, holy crap, like this is insane. Or whoever, look at all the years past. When the players hit that island, it's such a fun shot to root for that, it used to be how like whenever we used to run the island on 18 at Maple Hill, when the tee pad was shorter, people would get up to a really good spot and you had the whole crowd throwing dollars around at each other saying like, are they going to make it? Or are they going to miss it? And so when the player makes it onto the island, everyone just goes ballistic. And so I don't love the change. Absolutely. I don't like the change at all. So curious to know why it happened. Yeah. There's speculation of the way that the hole is played. The PDGA won't not sanction the tournament, but won't count it as a rated tournament, and it becomes an X major, kind of like how USDGC is.
Yeah, because you're making like exception rules. Yeah. They have approval for the rules, but the PDGA therefore doesn't, makes it an X tier. But that type of stuff probably makes sense that could be part of it, but I don't think we've heard anything official, right? So this is the problem: is we're all guessing. But here's the thing: why we're all guessing? And Ben, I'm curious if you have a reaction on hole 16. But the reason we're guessing at all these reasons is because we're dumbfounded that they would make the change. We're like, there's got to be a reason that is outside of the TD. Is UC the TD? I don't know if he's the actual TD or not. Yeah. Anyway, right? Like, because I think we're all thinking there's such a great narrative and it's been a fun hole to watch. But I don't know, Ben, what's your reactions?
Yeah, gut reaction when I first heard of it, I instantly thought like, oh, that's kind of sucks just for Anthony Barela. It's just like if he just waited one more year.
If he waited, yeah.
Right. That was the biggest. That was the first thing I thought. Like, dang, like he'd probably be pretty salty that it got changed because it really hurt him last year. My second gut reaction is I think I'm bummed that it got changed because it was the only disc golf hole. I know there's 17 USDGC, but to me, that's the only one that's plays like that with the marker rule that's as exciting or comparable. Like I guess USDGC 17 and that one are pretty much like it's the final stretch. You gotta stick the island, and if you don't, you have to re-tee. But that one, I like that it's like your second or third shot. Like it's you gotta put in a good position, and then you have the choice of laying it up or not. I think that's why I liked it the best, because I'm pretty sure Corey Ellis laid it up all, I believe, is it 4-round tournament? He laid it up every single round. He only did it because he knew he needed it in that final round, and he hit it. And kind of to go off Nick's sentiment, the excitement behind it is just, as a fan, it was just in a very exciting hole, and as a player, it was like the hole that was like really pressing on your brain. Now it's just going to be like any other hole, like, okay, just like worst case scenario, I bogey here. I just liked the pressure that it gave in a major, that something so simple as doing a 300-foot upshot hyzer can be so detrimental. So I'm bummed, but I'm not like upset about it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't know if they owe us anything, but just speaking as a fan playing in the media space, like I would hope to hear some explanation. Because like I'm going to be open-minded because we're reacting to a T sign in some online drama. So it's like, is there more to this? But it is fair for us to discuss because exactly like I'm going to summarize similar to what Ben said is purely as a fan, you're watching a close tournament and that hole's ahead. It's literally just exciting.
Yeah.
It's like you're excited that you're coming up to that hole down the stretch.
It's the
and like why like and of course, there could still be close competition. There could still be neck and neck, right? That could still happen, but it takes away like that extra click on the dial, right? That extra excitement of like what happened, right? What's famous for, Johnny McRae on hole 17 USDGC. Nobody wants anybody's hopes like dashed, but the truth is that's like the agony and defeat and the excitement of sports, right? So you kind of need that contrast. you need the high risk to actually appreciate the high reward.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's just a bummer. I hope we hear more. Hey, maybe it's not too late to change it. What do you think?
Who knows? I mean, it really just all depends on what the reasoning was.
Yeah,
for
exactly.
It,
what's the reasoning? Right.
I'm excited for the tournament nonetheless because they're adding in another course out in Tampere, and from what I've heard, it's one of the most incredible courses in the world. And I'm seeing that a lot with a lot of players are going over to Europe right now, playing these different events, and they're saying how incredible all these courses are that they're playing out there. And I'm excited for them. I definitely still excited for the tournament, regardless of one hole change. Yeah. Is Evan back?
Boom. Yeah, I think. So anyway, we almost drained that topic. Good. We'll see what happens, and we'll save our judgment for when that time comes.
Maybe Evan's the
Evan,
reason
you
it's
with us?
changing.
Evan is.
That was me hiding in another room.
Evan's the one
Evan
who
leaves and
changes
changes everything.
I'm just
but
kidding.
anyway,
He did
welcome back.
By the way, Tampere, I also think it's a fantastic course. I remember, I think it was Gatekeeper. Hopefully I'm right on that one. Came out with coverage, I believe, from the Prodigy Disc Pro Tour out in Tampere. That course, like a lot of like woodsy features that I like, almost like a raised green, not like super raised, just like a small lip. So like skip shots, like you kind of had to get a little bit higher to get up there. Only like a couple feet, but it just looks super nice. I enjoyed it. I remember watching that course and excited for it to come here to the European Open and Worlds next year. So, but I have this fun little game that I thought was a good time to kind of look back at the season stats. Like we said, we're over halfway through the year now, probably pushing that, maybe even pushing the last middle third before we hit the final third of the tour. So season's going by quick, and to look back at season stats and to see where players are really compared to other players. So I have not told anyone how this game works.
No.
But hopefully it's a simple enough concept.
And you did introduce it, and you just said it's a fun little game, but we'll reserve judgment on the fun part, Evan. I'm sure it's a little game, but
yeah, it's fun as in it requires skill, but it's not, I don't know. It does require skill, but you can also just guess.
Love it.
So I'm going to name a person and a stat. And for this season, at Major and Elite Series events, the Disc Golf Pro Tour season, it does not include Disc Golf Pro Tour Silver events over in the Europe side, Disc Golf Pro Tour Europe. But I'm going to name a player and a stat, and then they have that value for that stat for the season. I need you to name me another player who is most similar in that stat category. And you will get points for every single number, integer value you're off. And whoever gets the most points loses. So you want to be as close as possible.
Bats, I like it.
So if I said, this is not one, but if I said, Paul Macbeth, parked percentage, and it was 10.00, you want to name, and you don't know it's 10.00. I'm not saying that part. I'll say it at the end. You want to figure out a player who's most close to Paul Macbeth's park percentage. And if you're at someone who's 11.0, that's a full point. And I said integers, but it's not any decimal value. So if you're off by a half a percentage point, you will get that many points as well. Go ahead, Ben.
Well, I was going to ask, what's a good park percentage? Like, what is like elite? Is 10 good? Like really good? Kind of off topic, but
I don't want to, this is a little bit of table talk, but I'll give you this
yeah.
one. On the season, the highest park percentage, I don't want to say the player. I'll just say by division. By division, the highest in FPO is 14.07. Highest in MPO is 13.07.
Okay.
That's really odd.
So
that's
10,
a really good park
10's
percentage.
really good. Okay.
10 is good. There's only 16 MPO players above 10, and this is a lot of, and there's only 4 FPO players above 10. So there's your hint for the whole entire game. There's only one question on parked. They're all the other different stats. So the one qualifier is you have to choose players who have played at least 40% of the potential holes this year. I don't think that should narrow down your thoughts too much. Eagle McMahon, you can't pick. He's below the threshold, but I would assume almost anyone else, very notable, you can pick. Yeah. One other point I wanted to make is you can choose across divisions. If I said Paul Macbeth park percentage and you wanted to say Kristen Tatar, you can. Does not matter. It's for their own divisions, of course. The stats are by their divisions, whatever. So I have this kind of working behind the scenes and a nice little spreadsheet too. So I should have the answers coming back pretty soon. I just got to type in what you guys say. So first player and stat is Missy Gannon and her C1X putting percentage. So again, I will not say what the value is. I'll say it at the end so people can enjoy it. But for now, you have no clue what her C1X putting percentage is. You want to guess someone who's close to her C1X putting percentage, as close as you possibly can get on the season. And we'll give you guys, first question's going to be the hardest. We'll give you maybe 5 to 8 more seconds.
So just any order, like I just spit it out?
You can do any order, sure. Josh.
All right. You all can copy me if you want. Holland Hanley.
Owen Scoggins.
Ooh. Oh, I bet you Owen's higher.
I'm just hoping not too much higher.
I'm gonna go.
It doesn't have to be FPO, Ben. You can.
I know.
Nail him with
I'm thinking of
75 in
MPO players, but like I can't really think of. I'm just gonna. First, what thought that came to mind was Haley King.
All right. So we'll start with. I'll do it quickly, but this one's the first one, so we'll make it a little bit exciting. Holland Hanley is at. Well, actually, let's start with Missy Gannon.
Yeah.
Her putting percentage is 76.55%.
I'm screwed.
Holland Hanley's at 77.67%.
Yeah.
So just barely over 1 percentage point higher. Nick Owen Scoggins is at 82%.
I knew it. I told you,
decimals. 5.84 off.
Okay.
Haley King's at 75%.
Ooh, that's close too.
Off.
Let's
So
go.
Ben and Josh, you guys are very close. Ben, you're oh my goodness, I feel like my mom. I'm saying everyone's name wrong. But Nick, you are over 5. Another part to this game, Ben, because you're going to point it out. Some stats are more condensed than others, so there's points to be gained depending on the stat. So that's what makes it a little bit fun. Second one is now Gavin Babcock's park percentage.
Alden Harris.
Man, that was fiery.
Oh man.
Oh yeah, good
Gavin
question.
Babcock and parked percentage.
I mean, it's got like this is gonna be as random as it gets. Benjamin Callaway.
Nice.
I have no idea. Because I don't know Babcock's parked percentage, and so I don't even know Callaway.
Yeah.
So it's like
I love it.
I'm
I'm
gonna nail it.
going Luke Humphreys.
yeah, good educated guess.
All right. All great guessing. You guys are all very close to
who
each
Nick
other.
pick? I missed it.
Alden.
Oh yes, that's right. You said it right away.
So Gavin Babcock, he's one of those few players. What did I say? There was
10%.
16 MPO players above the 10-point mark, 10 percentage points. That's Gavin Babcock. 10.66. He's actually 10th on the season on parked. Good for him.
Wow.
All three of your picks are below the 10 percentage mark, but they're all very good. We'll go closest to farthest. Alden Harris at 0.92 away, Ben Callaway at 0.98 away, and Luke Humphreys at 1.07 away.
Oh, that was really close.
So
What
Nick
the-
Virtually
beat us.
no
Wow.
changes. That's
Yeah.
a more condensed one, but that was still
That was
fun.
really close.
When you said
Keep it the way it is. I
0.92 or 98, I was like, oh my gosh, is that his percent? I was like, I just gained 10 points by accident.
No.
They're all high nines.
Hey, you know what
Go
makes
ahead,
this game? I mean, well, one, it's fun because you're actually teaching us some things about the players. So, Evan, I already said it's fun. Like, I didn't know Babcock would have been in the top 10 highest parked. But you know what makes this hard is not telling us what that first person has. And not that I would know, but like if you said he's in the top, I would have started thinking, who do I think is higher
Gannon
parked?
Burr, easy.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
something.
exactly.
So anyway, intriguing.
So-
all right, keep it rolling.
All right. Next one up is Elizra Midling in Circle 2 in regulation.
What?
This is
Kristen
tough
Tatar.
because all right, I'll get you down because I want to know, Ben, I'm calling you out. Do you know what a good average wherever you think Elizra is? Circle 2 in regulation percentage on the season?
I don't know what a good one is. I would guess 60% is good. I'm gonna go Missy Gannon.
Emily Weatherman.
All right. That's a fun comparison.
I mean,
All
the
right.
two
Oh
rookies.
my goodness.
What happened?
All right. 2 of you are around 10 points off. 1 of you is within 0.1.
What?
It's Josh.
Who is
All
it?
right, so we'll start with Ben, who had Missy Gannon.
No.
I'm always going to start with the first person. I'm sorry, guys. I'm new to this hosting of this game.
Farthest.
Eliezer Middling in Circle 2 in regulation is 54.63%.
All
Missy
right.
Gannon is over 10 points better
Dang it.
at 64.68.
Wow.
Kristen Tatar, close to 10 better. She's at 63.89, just a little under 10.
I
And
nailed
Emily
it.
Weatherman at 54.53, just 0.1
That's crazy.
percentage points below.
That is crazy.
Eliezer
And I was just
Middling.
keying off of this weekend. We saw both of them at the top.
Yeah.
They were probably, I bet you they were higher than 54% this past weekend.
Probably.
Anyway.
I think so.
Both of
I
them.
think I want to see a good round percentage is around like 80%. I mean, course
Alright.
dependent, of course, but I feel like a good tournament is around that like 70 maybe. So I mean, we can look it up
All
real
right.
quick.
I'm sure some of these other stats probably have some big swings, but good
She
luck coming
was
back from that one, boys.
59%,
That was
again,
tough.
course dependent. But oh wow, that's actually interesting. Emily Weatherman won with a 59% C2 in regulation, but the leader was Missy Gannon with 76%. So a pretty big swing in there.
Oh.
All right. Here's a new stat, which I'm really throwing this one out at you guys. Create a fun little part about this. But this kind of toyed around with the stat last year. But it's the Sexton putting barometer, because this is something that Nate Sexton has always said and shared with Dion Arlen. And we're like, hey, that's really cool. But this is the number of outside of circle putts minus your circle one misses. So really how many C2 putts you make minus your misses from circle one. So if you make 2 C2 putts, but you miss 4 C1 putts, you're now at -2. And I will give you guys a little bit with this. It's good putters are going to be above 0, but it's hard to do that. Like there's me in my game, which nowhere near pro level, of course. No way am I above 0. I'm going to be high into the negatives. Pro players, even though very hard to be positive, but of course, good putters will be positive. So we're going to go with a good putter, and that is Gannon Burr. So someone's Sexton putting barometer who's nearby Gannon Burr's.
Easy. James Proctor.
Makes more C2 putts than C1 misses.
James Proctor.
Makes more. Oh, man. That's interesting. Makes is the way. Actually, your very last comment there. Yeah, that very last comment doesn't give it away, but it helps me understand more. You said they make more C2 putts than they, and I understand you gave the formula, but my brain was still processing.
No,
It was
all good.
buffering.
It's a new one.
All right. I am going back to Marweed.
I was thinking of Marweed, dude. He doesn't miss C1. That's the thing.
Right.
All right,
That's
Nick,
better.
on to you.
Oh, sorry. I said Tatar earlier.
Oh, my bad.
You're good.
Going back to back with Tatar.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. So Gannon Burr's Sexton putting barometer is 27. 27 more Circle 2 makes than Circle 1
On the
misses.
season.
On the season, yes.
All right.
So
That's pretty good. That's
yeah.
When you think about that.
That's filthy.
Unfortunately, Kristen Tatar is at -21.
That sounds about right.
Which she's a good putter, but that's unfortunate here. But again, being positive is very hard on the season. She's played, we just said 7 tournaments, so an
That's
average.
why I was hoping there was a
3
lot of
Circle
less
1
misses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's unfortunate. That's going to give you a big hit on the point total for this
Sounds
game.
about right.
But next up, the other two you a lot better. We'll go James Proctor, who's at
No.
34.
Wait.
He's higher than Gannon Burr. So you got 7 points because you were 7 points away because Gannon Burr has 27.
Yeah.
James Proctor's at 34, a better putter by the Sexton putting barometer.
So
And then
Marweed's
Andrew
got
Marweed's 4 points under at 23.
Oh,
that's
So Josh
all right.
continues his streak and has only the parked one for Gavin Babcock have you not been the best scorer on the round, and you're only 0.6 off.
Oh, Babcock's
0.06
almost who I
off.
picked. But anyway, I picked Marweed.
Yes. All right. Next one, we're going Paige Pierce and fairway percentage.
my goodness. Fairway
Dude,
percentage.
she can yank some into the woods sometimes. I'm
Katrina
just
Allen.
saying. Oh, this is so hard.
Yeah, this season for Paige.
Who's someone that's not really on the fairway but bombs? Or maybe that's just a misconception I have.
Valerie Mondahano.
I am going to go MPO. I'm going to go Jacob Cordes.
Yeah.
I don't know why that I love the premise, Ben. You're a thinker. You all did really good here. Ben, you did do the worst, but you did pretty good. Paige Pierce, her fairway hits is at 72.16. Jacob Curtis is 3.64 below.
All right, bet.
So still very close. I'm impressed. Like, I don't mean to say you're the worst because in this round, because that's still a great guess. Nick's second best. Oh my goodness, Josh. But Nick is Katrina Allen's 2.18 below. And the Barela Mondahano is 1.33 above. So
Wow. I'm feeling good. There's
yeah.
probably some luck here, but I'll take the credit.
Taking a sizable lead. So Nick's at 66 points. Again, higher is bad. Ben, you're at 23.58, and Josh, you're at 7.53.
Sheesh.
Pretty big commanding lead. So I have one more definite one, and then we can get into some bonus ones. And this game's very fluid and up in the air. Looks like we're holding out on Nick, either thunderstorm.
Nick
or
said
Nick
said he accidentally shut off his computer.
Well, we can call
We'll
it.
keep the brick, the
right?
blue brick placeholder, and see what we can come up with.
All right, so we'll see what happens with Nick and if we catch him up or whatever.
Yeah, we can ask him after.
But let's do Jake Mon and his birdie average, which is his birdies are better on a per round basis. So how many birdies are better is he getting per round this season? And then who's close?
How many birdies? Yeah.
Oh,
we
that was the
into
quickest reboot ever.
Yeah,
I
solid
literally,
state.
so I was clicking to get on a new tab and I accidentally dropped my mouse and it literally somehow perfectly hit my power cord and shut it off. And so I was like, what the heck? I tried turning back on my computer when I was like, oh, I hit the power cord. Anyways, sorry about
What are the
that.
chances?
Yeah, I know.
So quickly recap on the last one. You had Katrina Allen, who was 2.18 below Paige Pierce.
Not bad.
You were in the middle.
Okay.
Ben was a 3.64 with Jacob Curtis, which was still a great guess. And then Josh, of course, 1.33 with Valerie Mondahano.
Very nice.
1.33 away, I should say. So now we're on to Jake Mon with birdie average, which is birdies are better on a per round basis. So what's his average number of birdies are better on a round? Obviously, this is maxed at 18 and as little as 0.
I'm going to go Braden Sides.
What? That's literally what I was gonna say. I literally was about to say it. I was gonna say Braden Sides
I
too.
guess so I guess you can't though, right?
I can't.
We don't have any rules in this. I'm not
declared it.
It would feel weird.
That is
it would feel weird because you know.
though.
Like,
I wish I said it before. I was literally
You
like,
said it?
I
You should've
got
said it before?
and then you said it. Right, that was so weird. Frick. I gotta think again.
Gavin
Wade Sides.
Rathbun.
No, I'm kidding. Not Wade Sides.
Gavin
Rathbun.
Rathbun.
All right.
Oh, I bet he has higher birdie percentage though.
Let's go.
Too late.
Let's go Evan Smith.
Nice. All right. Well, Josh, your gut is right. Gavin Rathbun is the furthest away. And again,
I knew it. After I said it, I'm like,
Jake Mon is averaging 5.75 birdies are better per round.
Gavin's got to be like 7.8.
7.15, not quite that high, but 1.4 away.
Eh.
Next best is Evan Smith,
Dude,
who's a little bit higher as well at 0.77. But then Ben, I wasn't making the rules. This was Nick who said you couldn't do it, but Braden Sides only 0.26 away.
Oh,
just a little bit
dude,
below
I would have
Jake
picked
Mon.
him. That's
So,
crazy.
Decent.
that is the best guess. All right, I got three options left. So I
Just
can wrap
list them
this game
all.
up
Let's
with
do
one
it.
more?
We're here.
All right. Okay. Here's the fun part, though, is I'm going to turn it to you guys to pick the player and the stat. And then you don't know what their value is as long as you don't look it up. And then we'll play the game normally from there. So let's start best to worst as of now. So that way, Nick, you can go for a Hail Mary if you really want, if you're still in the lowest, which I'll say scores real quick. Nick, 66.46, Ben, 24.35, and Josh, 8.93. Whew, Josh, can you
There's
keep
no
it below
Hail Marys
10?
for me.
Oh, there is. I'm not saying the good stats to
Yeah.
pick for this game. I actually, there is some limits on stats. I didn't put all of them into this spreadsheet, so I will let you know if it's good or not. But all the basic ones are there, and then you can ask me if a stat is available. But let's start with you, Josh. Pick any player who has a minimum of 40% of holes played and a major stat category.
All right. I'm just going to pick a player that's top of their game, Anthony Barela. And then I'm going to pick, it's not obscure, but I don't know if I actually think of AB being strong in this or not, which is Scramble. You have Scramble percent?
I do.
So now we've got to pick someone else.
Now you got to pick someone
Right,
else.
so now
You said AB,
we're all picking. So it's like,
but
yeah,
now you're all, yeah, all picking off
AB
of
Scramble
AB
percent. So now we're trying to pick somebody else who's got an equivalent Scramble percent.
Dude, I don't even know what a good one is.
I have no idea either. Ricky Wysocki.
Ooh, that's a great guess.
Paul Macbeth.
Isaac Robinson.
Ben
No, I lied.
said-
Gannon Burr.
And Nick said
Stop lying.
Gannon Burr. All right, so we have Gannon Burr, Paul Macbeth, and Richard Wysocki. All right, cool. So Anthony Barela is at 49.64% in scrambles. I'm gonna be honest. I don't know. I don't know Scramble well enough and what's good and what's bad.
It doesn't sound very
He's not
good.
the highest and he's not the lowest of the people you chose. And to go through them from furthest away to closest, Paul Macbeth is 12.92 percentage points below that. He's at rounding to 37%.
Ooh.
Then we got Richard Wysocki, who's just under 12% better, up in 62%. And then Nick, fairly close at 6.01. Better is Gannon Burr at 56%. So good guesses, points to be had. Nick, you caught up a little bit.
A little bit. Slowly
So.
but surely.
All right, Ben, on to you.
I've been trying to look up what stats there are. Is there anything
Okay.
else on
I'll go through you the ones that I have. I got birdie
Number
average,
of
bogey
wins.
average,
Oh,
park,
sorry.
circle 1 in regulation, circle 2 in regulation, fairway, scramble, OBs, but on a per 18 basis, circle 1 putting, circle 2 putting, average putt, average putt distance, make distance. Total
average putt make distance? I need something with a lot of
Oh, man.
Yeah, and going average.
potential
All right.
to go.
Name your player.
Average putt make distance. Let's go. Micah Groth.
All right, he is locked and set. Pick your players nearby what Micah Groth's average putt make distance is on the season.
Paul Ulibarri.
Drew Gibson. Does he have enough
Shoot,
on there?
I gotta write these down. Hold on. I got it in the excitement. Nick said Paul Ulibarri and Josh said Drew Gibson.
Just so Ben couldn't pick him. That's why I said it so fast.
Let's go Gannon Burr. Or Andrew Marweed, but I'm going Gannon Burr.
All right. Okay, so Gannon Burr. Oh, I always do that. I'm so sorry, everyone. Micah Groth. His average putt make distance is 12.21 on the season. Gannon Burr is the furthest away, he being 4.12 higher at 16.33,
No.
which is Ben's guess. Paul Ulibarri, Nick's guess, is 3.8 higher at 16.01. And Josh, once again, Drew Gibson, only 1.05 average make distance higher at 13.26.
Of course.
Dang it.
That's such an interesting stat, though, right? Like, because if I putt and miss and roll away to like 10 feet and then putt again, that's a 10-foot putt, right? 'Cause that's the
Yeah,
average
it's
of
only
made
the
putts.
make distances.
Yeah. That's all. It's just interesting to think
So,
about.
And it's
Somebody like
you can
Gannon
make
has the higher number, but probably because he's missing less putts and he's hitting the ones that are closer to the edge of the circle.
Yeah,
more
the
consistently.
counterpoint to it is if you're a really good approach player,
Right, you could have short in that case. Yep.
Yeah, you might not get those long ones. So it is a little interesting, and I think it's a little bit scenario dependent, but really interesting stuff. So we got one last stat to make the comeback. Nick, you're at 76.27. Ben, 41.39. Josh, 21.93. Could have just routed those to make them simpler. But,
so what stat would potentially give me the most?
Yeah, that's has the biggest swing.
Like, what could potentially have the biggest swing?
Yeah, I said it. Well, I mean, circle two putting is an okay one. But I think total putt distance.
Yeah, seriously, it would be. It's
putt
like,
make.
1,000 feet or something.
And
somebody could be off by a couple hundred.
And Ben, I didn't want to mess with what you chose. I'm trying to stay out of this as the host. But you chose average putt make difference. So total could be good. But Nick, up to you.
I thought I was picking.
I was debating whether to do OB percentage, but I think total
OB is going to be low.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about OB rate, that's generally below 1.
Yeah.
And then here I just have OBs per 18 holes, which like 3 is a high
pick
number.
total, Nick. That's what I wanted.
So if
to
I
pick.
did total putt distance, it would be like if AB's
per
made
round.
4,000 feet of putts. You know what I mean? Like, is that?
Yeah.
Is this like per round, like average?
No,
per
it's
round?
total on the season. It's a big
Total on the
number.
season.
It's total
This
on the
is the
season.
secret one.
Okay.
Dude, that's what I wanted to
Like,
pick.
what the heck
All
is
right.
the math calculation? Like, I gotta how many events? I'm doing. Am I allowed to use my calculator
I
to
gotta
do
think of
math?
someone fun.
I don't see why you
as
can't
well.
use
I mean, I'm making
calculator.
up the numbers, but
I also don't think it would be illegal to look up players and how many events they played, just as long as you're not looking at this stat.
I've got it off the top of my head.
So, but
All right,
Nick,
so
you
we're
still
gonna
need to choose a base player.
We're gonna go total putt distance, and my base player will be.
Someone random.
I know. I'm trying to think of just someone random who's like casually there.
Someone who people don't know how many events they played,
Aiden Scott.
except for you.
Let's go Marweed.
Oh, that's high though. I feel like.
You don't know.
All right. So you're trying to get total putt make distance nearby Andrew Marweeds on the season.
I'm gonna go Gannon Burr again.
Let's go Adam Hammis.
Oh, this is so weird because my brain is not actually trying to guess a name; it's trying to understand how the stat would play out, right? Like,
Yeah.
does Marweed have longer or shorter? And heck, if I would know who else compares to him. So I guess that's the thing. Who else putts like Marweed? Let's say Ricky Wysocki.
All right.
I don't think he putts like Marweed, but random guess. Good putter.
Okay. This is a big one. All right, let's
I
start
lost it all
with
right here,
Andrew
didn't I?
Marweed.
Nick just
I
made
hope
himself.
that's the case.
Andrew Marweed has 12,078 feet of made putts this season.
That's
The
crazy.
furthest away people you named was Adam Hammis
Damn
by
it.
Nick. He's
lost
over
my own-
He switched it
3,000
up.
feet below. He's had to miss a few events or just parking every shot and not
I was
getting
just
that
hoping
distance
he's.
number.
Yeah. All right.
And to even back up, Marweed is third on the season in this metric. Then let's go to second furthest on this round, which is Richard Wysocki
All right.
at 913 feet fewer than Andrew Marweed.
That's not bad at all.
He's in that ballpark,
Yeah.
but definitely.
I
A
forgot,
bit away.
it was literally just a total. So I was you're trying to get somebody who played the same number of events. That's actually the biggest thing.
Yeah, and I mean, well, yeah, Ricky has
All right, I wanna
played
hear Ben's.
one less event than Marweed. I don't know
Okay.
how that translates
All
in
right,
rounds.
lucky me. All right.
So, and then Gannon Burr, he was the closest, but was it close enough?
Yes,
Gannon
it's gotta
Burr's
be.
total putting distance was 12,298, which is 220 away,
Yeah.
which brings Ben's total to 261. Josh was at 295. Oh my goodness. That was, I don't know what kind of dyslexia I just had.
Yeah. I was like, wait, what?
935. 935 for Josh. So quite a ways away. Ben gets the victory here. And then Nick
I feel like
at
Josh got it.
3,000.
40,000.
Stat,
Yeah.
bonus
It's-
stat.
Yeah.
That's all right. I'll gracefully give it to you all. Evan had told us that he was going to have a game, and I said I was going to study. So what do you think, Evan? How'd I do?
I think you did pretty good.
You won.
Yeah.
You won.
Besides
That
the
was a
total
bonus.
putting, actually, both times you picked Ricky Wysocki went bad.
Yeah.
You had a combined just about 924 points away, and the other ones combined were 10 points away. So that was pretty incredible. Really good round. So
I like that game, and I have nothing top of mind when I say this, but I bet you we could refine it a bit and have a lot of fun with it. Like, it was great as it was, but like,
certainly. And I like the chat right now. They're saying they should do this game next week with Matt, but prank him and everyone guesses within like a point or two.
Oh,
Right,
dude,
so-
we should.
So pretty much we just all play.
Just you
Everyone
need to
plays like
text.
Josh.
You need to text us all the answers that are closest, so we could just be like destroying him.
Oh, that would be pretty funny.
If he doesn't listen to the show, that
If he
is.
doesn't listen to this show, yeah.
yeah,
That's
what,
the real
what are the
test here.
chances, right? Yeah.
And I did see another comment about the chat being able to play along with this game. I think it's tough to do. I think people should pull up the Disc Golf Pro Tour season stats, guess your player, and then like write down what their number is, and then maybe hear me. It's a lot to do, and especially if you're a driver or you work
Yeah.
while listening to this, that's next to impossible. But a tough game to count otherwise with the.
Hey, if you're in
chat.
your car right now, check your left mirror, make sure it's properly set up so you can see your left lane traffic. Make sure you check that blind spot too. I'm just looking out for you.
Nice.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ben.
All right,
Well-
so we've always got tons of other topics. So Evan, I think that's a wrap, right? Like,
Yes,
so
that is a wrap. That's what I was going to
It
say.
also doesn't have a name for that game yet, right? So we gotta
It
name
Matter
it.
fiction.
doesn't.
All right,
No.
we'll figure it out. There's a handful of other topics, but we've also got to get our picks in. And I have a feeling that game on top of PDL picks. Can we go to PDL picks? But
Yeah,
like,
let's go.
let's not drag it out. I think we just like playing game on
We'll
top
go
of
bam,
games.
bam,
But
bam,
everybody's
bam.
got to hear what our picks are, or at least our top picks.
Pop, drop, lock. Yeah.
So everybody, welcome to our Pop Drop Lock picks. Go check it out at popdroplock.com. If you haven't signed up already, sign up for it. It gives you a funny nickname, and we compete every single week with
Blue
Hooligan
Ant?
Discs. They are sponsoring and helping us out in this whole endeavor. And then shout out to Shrek. He's our IT website dude who helped actually make all this possible. Every single week, you get a chance to win a prize if you're the number one winner overall. It'll be from Hooligan Discs. We'll get your information and all that good stuff, and we'll ship you out.
Charming Lemur 2313
Yeah.
won this past one.
Exactly. So, anyways, popdroplock.com. If you haven't signed up, sign up. It's quick and easy. You don't have to create a password. That's like you have to have a capital, a letter, a number. Just create a password. You're good to go. Have some fun. Tell your friends about it. Anyways, Ben, hit the button.
Yeah, let's go. Nick's picks.
My picks, we saw them earlier, which is so funny to me because I could see my screen perfectly earlier, and now it's a little bit blurry. But I went Pop Logan Ritter. Is it Ritter?
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm struggling to see it. Only reason I went with him is because it was the easiest name to spell without butchering it, and I had like 10 minutes before the show. So
Nice rationale.
he's my pop. My drop is Ben Kenny's boy, Eagle McMahon, and my lock is Paul Macbeth. I think this is it. He loves Europe. He just had a nice vacation.
He's
He's fired up. On my pop side for FPO, give me 1 second because I can't read what my screen says. Sorry. It is Jenny Larson. Same thing, not gonna lie, it was just the easiest one to spell, and I'm hoping she pops off. My drop is Ella Hansen, and my lock is Paige Pierce. Main reason being is I only have one more pick for Kristen, and I'm saving that for Worlds. So, Paige, rooting for you. I think you got it.
Alrighty, let's go. Matt's pick. We'll detail them.
I'll go through them.
Yeah.
Tommy Tico, Gavin Babcock to drop, and Ricky to win. And for FPO, Thea Johansson, and then Ella Hansen to drop, and lock Silva Saranen, who's been on a streak, but this field will probably be the toughest field she's faced here in several weeks. All right.
My picks, I'm going with Pop Eli Swanson. He did good for me last time. Drop Eagle McMahon. I think he's the third highest rated. It's completely, that's why. Just trying to get some points. Lock Ricky Wysocki. I was going to go Macbeth, but I don't know. Ricky, I feel like he can give me a top 10 at least. And then hopefully. Pop, I'm going with Ingvild Helm. Only reason is I just looked at everyone's PDGA and she had a few events in 2022. It looked like she took a break. And, you only get better if you keep practicing. So I hope she kept practicing. It's 2 years from 2022 now, and I know that rating will go up. Ella Hansen, highest rated player in the field, dropping. And lock, come on. No, I guess not Kristen, but
Okay.
the second highest. I don't know.
30 points below Kristen's. But I understand your point.
And lock Silva Sananen, like I said, it's the biggest week to get points. I'm trying to stack them up, and that's what I got.
All right, bring it on.
And Josh.
All right, Pop.
Come on.
I'm just going to say him.
Let's go.
Randon, Lotta.
Donnie.
Drop Eagle McMahon, Ben.
Bruh.
Ricky Wysocki to win. Ben, you and I, 2 for 2 there.
Me, you and
Then I've
Matt have
got
a
Jenny
lot of
Larson
same.
to Pop, to drop Rachel Turton, and to lock Silva. So, Ben, you and I are sharing 3 identical picks.
I'm sharing
Matt and
3
I
with
are
Matt,
sharing
too.
2. Yeah, so that's pretty interesting because we don't talk about these. So
I'm protecting myself from completely straying away too far from you guys. But it might be a
guess so.
negative wise.
All right, Evan, bring it home.
Yeah, well, Rachel Turton, fresh off a British National Championship win. But
Hey.
all right, to my picks, I got Henrik Holland. I mean, I'm playing the game that Ben's trying to play, under 1,000 rated. He has a good number of 1,000 rated rounds, like 1040, I think even 1050 rated rounds. I like that pop advantage. And then also I saw the name Holland, and I was just like, man, we're going to Norway. I got to pick it in support of Erling Holland of soccer. Up in Norway. But then Mr. Richard Wysocki, looks like that's a common pick. Everyone but Nick, who's going Paul McBeth, is picking Ricky to win this one. He's been over in the Northern Europe for a bit now. And so taking in the weather, and I think he'll do good. That didn't even fit, and I shortened her name, but Maria Elde Kristinadoror, who was leading at the Swedish Open after round 1. I think, ultimately still finished top 5 or at least top 10. She's rated 905. So performance she put on,
pick.
I'm just like, she's destined for it. She's looking good on that right path. And then I'm loving seeing the first 3 of you pick Ella Hansen as a drop. And I understand it's a ratings conversation and not necessarily she's going to fall apart and finish outside the top 10. I don't think any of you guys think that.
She could win and average well below it's her rating. So.
I understand that. I'm not hating on the picks, but I am going to say that fuels me with this pick. I think this is my first time picking Ella Hansen this year. Maybe it's not. I picked Holland Hanley a lot. I don't think I picked Ella Hansen. She played Swedish Open. She's been hanging in Europe. I like to see that. I like people who have been over in Europe for some time, whether they're European or American, as long as they've been acclimated in there and not flying over just this week, because there are a lot of good players, especially MPO side. MPO is loaded this week. FBO, we don't see Evelina Sound and Hannah Blommers. I feel like we should note that. Plus, it doesn't seem like a lot of Americans are going over, except for Paige Pierce, who played or Paige Pierce was over for a few weeks. So I guess scratch that. I don't think any Americans are flying over who played at Des Moines. But I feel like MPO is packed. It's going to be exciting. This course is very cool. So anyways, that was a little bit past my picks, but there they are.
Hey. Shout out Hooligan. If you guys haven't put your picks in, you have until 7 a.m.
Thursday.
The day of the event?
Thursday. Yes.
Does the event start on Thursday?
No, but that's when picks have always been. I
thought it was 7 a.m. the day of the event.
Oh, but this is a European event.
Yeah, so the hours are ahead. They're ahead of us.
Yeah. I actually don't know. That's a good question.
Hey, just get them in on Wednesday, and everyone will be
Get
good.
them in now.
PopDropLock.com. Don't use my picks. I'm doing very poorly the last
Use
8
my
weeks.
picks.
So, anyways,
Yeah,
shout out to Hooligan Discs
Thank
for
you.
helping us out with this.
Yep, check them out.
HooliganDisc.com. Use code Ben10. 10% off.
Ben.
There you go.
Show.
Ben 10.
Yeah, they got some good stuff. They got nice merch too. I
love
have
their merch.
another hat from them that I've been wearing a lot. Like it.
Yeah, man.
Heck yeah.
We four of us went Richard Wysocki, and I just can't believe it. I mean, we're going against Nicolas Antela, going off of Anthony Barela, going against Gannon Burr.
It's
Yeah,
a
go on
strat.
interesting.
It's
Kind of
I-
wild that we got
it's a
4 out of 5
strat.
picking Richard Wysocki, and Paul Macbeth as the 5th. I know it's your homeboy Nick, but like,
He
what
did
is
get it.
almost
That
really
European, and he had a good tournament recently. So
absolutely. He won the Norway Elite Series event last year before the European.
yeah, it
Open.
would
It's
not
not
shock
crazy.
me. Yeah, it would not
So-
shock me.
Paul Macbeth winning a tournament will never shock me. So, I just think this
I
is
agree.
the one that's going to happen.
Yeah, I still have all 5 of my Kristen Tatars. I held off at the beginning of the season.
You've
maybe
banked on those
wrongfully.
this whole time.
And
Good for you.
yeah, and then she's been away and then injured, and I'm just gonna I cannot wait going Worlds.
You're pretty much
don't know
gonna
if
go
we
like 5
throw
in a
pink
row,
on this
be
one, but I probably will go through
Worlds,
pink,
GMC, MVP, US
Ledgestone
Women's.
if she's playing that.
Yeah.
Whew, I just like
How,
it's gonna
how
be
much do I have,
constant.
Josh, for Kristen left?
Oh, well, give me just a very quick moment. You have picked Kristen, I think only
twice.
2 times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just for the majors, and she hasn't won any of them, so it hasn't been working.
Yeah. Nope. All right, we're getting close to winding it down, I think. But hey, just talking a time change in European event, obviously some players are not going to travel to Europe at all. Some are not going to travel for a Crocal, but get over there for the major, right? And then you have some like Calvin who have been jet setting back and forth between events and maybe everything in between. Like, what do you all think? Like, is there any impact to performance or impact to field strength? I think the answer to that is yes. Just curious, like, what you all think. Is this part of the growth of our sport and it's going to keep bouncing around? Or are you going to try to see that streamline? Or is it like, we talked about this a little before, but now that it's like on our doorstep, because we literally just saw, Calvin's the classic example. I think we're all like, he's not playing Des Moines. And there he is, right?
Yeah.
Like, so back
How
and
did
forth.
he do, by the way?
He did okay.
Finished top 10,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, it didn't make
so
like a
that's
lead card or
crazy.
something, but still a great finish. He did drop from Crocal as far as I've seen. I mean, none of us.
Oh, he did.
Saw him here,
Okay.
so I'm almost positive. I mean,
mean,
just
that,
like
like,
pop
that-
drop lock, he's not available in this. So
Yeah, that makes sense.
I'm very sure he's still playing European Open, but probably realized I mean, I think that Swedish Open traveling probably made him be like,
Oh,
"Oof,
man.
I gotta find a break
nightmare
somewhere."
travel. Got to get so tired.
So,
but
I'll step into that first and say I think if we look at other sports, traveling definitely wears on people. It's definitely you're at a disadvantage the more you travel. I mean, you see, an away team traveling far away or across time zones or going to a non-normal time. It does affect them. Like there's documented data on it. I don't have it in front of me. I can't reference any of it, but that is a true statement. And I would have to believe that it follows the same thing in disc golf. If you fly across country or across the pond and get there just in time, your body is not right. Sleep is one of the most important things to an athlete. Like that's definitely documented as well, and that disrupts it. Your whole just normal change of pace that's off. Disc golf's a mental game. Needed even more probably. I think that is definitely true. As far as like just how the schedule is set up, I mean, we kind of talked about this last week a little bit too, but there's so many different ways you can do the schedule. I think the way it is now does lean towards players being able to take a break in the continent that they choose. If you want to stay in the United States, you get breaks between events. Maybe you have a back-to-back 1 week, but then you have a week off the next. You can fill it with an A tier in between if you choose. If you're over in Europe, it's the same deal. Every other week. This week, the Finnish and Estonian players went back to their home countries, and Rachel Turton going back to Great Britain to play in your kind of national event. It gives a break off. Sure, they still are traveling, but it lets these other events fill in. So I think it makes a lot of sense. And then Disc Golf Network has an event every single weekend, even though it's changing what time zone it is. There's disc golf for us to talk about every single weekend. You could go to the month in the US and delay the European events and then do all of them in a month. But then if players are playing in all the US ones and then traveling to Europe, they're going to be so burnt out. But then even the players who stick in one continent, not content, are going to get possibly burnt out as well, playing so many weekends in a row at such a high level. So I think it makes a lot of sense here. I am surprised that Calvin Heimberg was traveling back and forth. I'm almost only surprised. I am kind of surprised that he was the only one that was really that notable of doing it. I think a few, I think Ulibarri and Antila both went over and maybe played the first one. What was that? Copenhagen. They played that one and then traveled back. But we haven't seen a lot of flip-flopping really much elsewhere, which I think is to be expected. But I am kind of surprised nobody tried to go way above and beyond.
Agreed. It's tough because it's all the European. There are so many good European players now on the MPO and the FPO side, and we have such a U.S. dominant tour right now that the struggle is harder for them. Majority of the tour is here in the U.S. They have lives, they have families, they have sons, daughters, brothers, sisters, mothers, fathers, whatever, out in Europe. So they're leaving them constantly to come out to the U.S. and spend X amount of weeks there, either renting cars and Airbnb-ing every single week. They're doing all these different things to where I would say the life is a little bit harder for a European to constantly have to come over to the U.S. The U.S. players do get a chance to go over to Europe for a few weeks at a time every single year. It's extending now. We've seen someone like Paul take 6 to 8 weeks last year, multiple weeks this year, and a lot of other players are also doing the same thing. And the events are getting huge. Shout out to European disc golf and all the different countries out there. A lot of pros are saying how enjoyable the courses are. They're some of the best courses in the world. So I've been excited to see and watch. Their courses are very unique. They're very enjoyable to watch. So I'm pumped for it. But yeah, the travel back and forth, I can't imagine doing what Calvin did, flying out there, playing an event, then flying back to the U.S., playing an event, and then flying back out there to play events. That kind of sounds miserable. It doesn't sound fun.
Yeah, it'll be interesting, I think, in future years as players continue to adapt travel, as the tour tries to figure out, right, this really growth. The European Open is not new and other big events there, but in the last 2 to 3 years, more big events, right? This year adding the Elite Series. So it's kind of growing pains, and I think some of the players who can afford to or whatever, are making, they're making decisions to be able to do it. But I would imagine in future years, you will see some more streamlined tour patterns, but not exclusively. I think to some extent, as the scene grows in both regions, you may continue to see some parallel events. And then I think what you may see less of is situations like Calvin jumping back and forth. There may actually be some parallel tours where players are getting points at various events and coming back together, in certain places. So it'll just be interesting to see to grow. Obviously, I don't have a strong opinion there. Just find it interesting. Seeing Calvin sparked the conversation, and then we'll obviously see a bunch of players heading over here in the next couple of weeks. So I guess we'll see how it plays out.
Agreed. Excited for it, everybody. Make sure you got your DGN subscriptions going on. We have some awesome events coming up. Check us out every single Monday night and all that. And I think that pretty much wraps us up for episode 196. We are now 4 episodes away, technically, I think, from 200. We'll have to do something fun for that. But don't forget to like, comment, subscribe on the YouTube video. Definitely don't forget to subscribe. Turn your notifications on. You'll see us go live pretty much every single Monday night. We have an awesome cast here to where someone might be missing, but the rest of us will be here having a great show. So thank you for tuning in to Staggered Stance. Shout out to Disc Golf 978. Shout out to Hooligan Discs for helping us out with everything. Tell someone you love them this week. We'll catch you on the next one.
Ben, you're awesome. Matt, you're awesome. Josh, you're awesome. Evan, you're awesome.
Later.
See ya. Nick, you're awesome,
Bye.
I think. I don't know.